GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good night, Montreal.
This afternoon, a young man was charged with criminal defamation after a video showed him hurling misogynistic insults at a service de police de la Ville de Montreal officer during a traffic stop. Police say the footage, recorded at 15:41 on Monday, captures the suspect directing vulgar language toward the officer and includes claims of similar confrontations with other officers. The video circulated online, prompting the SBVM to open an investigation. Under Quebec law, criminal defamation can be pursued when an individual publicly insults police personnel. The charge reflects the province's legal framework that treats such remarks as an offense. No further details about the suspect's identity have been released, and authorities have not indicated whether additional evidence will be presented. The case proceeds through the criminal court system, where the accused faces potential penalties if convicted.
Gasoline prices across Quebec have surged to nearly $2 per liter in Montreal, a steep climb from about $1.5 per liter in February. Canadian fuel analysts attribute the spike to ongoing tensions in the Middle East and other volatile regions, which have squeezed global oil markets. The rise marks the latest in a series of hikes since early February, prompting growing unease among drivers and families feeling the pinch at the pump. Industry experts warn that if geopolitical instability persists, further increases could follow, keeping households on edge as they budget for daily commutes. Local consumer groups report long lines at service stations, while retailers scramble to manage inventory amid the price surge. Officials have not announced immediate relief measures, leaving residents to shoulder the higher cost for now.
The Quebec Housing Tribunal has ordered that most members of a family currently living in a driveway can move into their Ahuntsic duplex on September 1st. The family, which has been camping in the driveway of the property while a resolution was pending, will be granted occupancy of the unit after the tribunal's recent ruling. Officials said the decision follows a prior judgment by the same tribunal, clearing the way for the household to settle permanently. The order applies to the majority of the family, though a small number of members remain excluded pending further review. The tribunal's directive is set to take effect at the start of the month, allowing the occupants to end their temporary shelter and begin normal tenancy in the Ahuntsic neighborhood. The tribunal, which adjudicates landlord-tenant disputes province-wide, said its mandate includes protecting families' right to adequate housing.
The Canadians are set to add former assistant Derek Lalonde to their staff as an associate coach. Management confirmed the move will be announced today, marking Lalonde's first senior role with the franchise since his recent tenure in the AHL. Lalonde brings a reputation for strong defensive systems and player development, qualities the club hopes will complement head coach Martin St. Louis' vision. The decision comes as the Habs look to solidify their bench after a season that left the team just shy of the playoffs. Fans can expect the official press conference later this afternoon at the Bell Center, where the organization will outline how Lalonde's experience fits into the broader plan to push the club back toward contention. Stay tuned for the full details as the story unfolds in the coming weeks.
Business leaders across the island sounded alarm on Wednesday as a surge of empty storefronts continues to scar the city's primary shopping corridors. Representatives from the Downtown Merchants Association told La Presse that vacancy rates on avenues such as St. Catherine, Sherbrooke, and Peel have climbed to unprecedented levels, leaving large sections of the streetscape barren. They warned that the lag in coordinated policy responses is deepening the problem, with owners struggling to attract new tenants and consumers losing confidence in traditional retail districts. City officials have acknowledged the issue but say comprehensive incentives and zoning reforms remain under review. Meanwhile, the visual impact of shuttered windows is prompting residents to question the future vitality of the commercial core, as the vacancy trend shows no sign of abating. Mayor Soria Martinez Ferrada's office said it is monitoring the situation and will convene a task force with the Chamber of Commerce this month.
Later, we'll break down Quebec and Ottawa's fast-track environmental reviews and what that means for local jobs. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for staying with us. Up next, Rachel brings you the latest local stories you need to hear today.
Earlier today, the Quebec government and the federal cabinet signed a pact to speed up environmental assessments for large-scale infrastructure and resource projects. The agreement trims the usual review steps, aiming to cut the time it takes to clear projects such as new transit lines, pipelines, or renewable energy installations. For commuters, the promise of quicker approvals could mean faster delivery of highway extensions or light rail expansions that ease rush hour congestion. Developers say the streamlined process will lower holding costs, potentially translating into lower prices for goods that rely on new transport routes. Environmental groups noted the deal still obliges projects to meet existing standards, but the reduced paperwork may shift timelines from years to months. Both governments said the move reflects months of coordination on project approvals across the province.
President Donald Trump announced today a sweeping tariff proposal that would hit Canadian exporters with a 50% duty on a broad range of goods, including dairy products and alcoholic beverages. The move targets producers in Quebec and other provinces, aiming to deepen the ongoing trade dispute between the United States and Canada. Officials say the steep levy is intended to pressure Ottawa into renegotiating terms that Washington deems unfavorable. Industry groups warn the sudden increase could ripple through local farms, wineries, and breweries, raising prices for consumers and threatening jobs in the supply chain. Trade analysts note that the measure escalates a pattern of retaliatory steps that have already strained cross-border commerce. As negotiations loom, both sides face a critical test of how far the tariff war will extend.
The IMAX 70mm adventure L'Odyssey has climbed to the top of the worldwide box office, becoming the highest-grossing film on the planet. It also marks the first fictional feature shot entirely in the format that originated right here in Montreal. Audiences are filling theaters in record numbers, a trend that analysts link to the novelty of seeing a full-length story projected on the ultra-large, ultra-sharp IMAX screen. The film's momentum continues this week, with daily ticket sales still outpacing earlier releases. Cinema owners report longer queues and higher concession sales, suggesting that the immersive experience is resonating with moviegoers. As the run progresses, industry watchers are noting how the success could spur more productions to adopt the format, potentially reshaping how big-budget movies are filmed and exhibited. The buzz is already spilling over into local cafes where patrons debate the visual impact.
Students at College Supérieur de Montreal have taken to the campus today, rallying against a planned shutdown that could affect thousands of current and prospective learners. The protest follows the Quebec Ministry of Education's decision not to renew the college's operating permits, a move announced without explanation. Demonstrators are chanting, holding signs, and demanding a clear justification before any closure proceeds. The campus, located in the heart of the city, serves many commuters who rely on its programs for trades training and professional advancement. With classes suspended and future enrollment uncertain, families worry about disruptions to education pathways and potential financial strain. Campus officials say the ministry has not provided a timeline for reopening, while students vow to keep the protest alive until a transparent solution is offered. Their determination underscores how a single institutional decision can ripple through neighborhoods, affecting local businesses and daily commutes.
The Quebec Life-Saving Society has confirmed 39 suspected drowning deaths so far this year, and officials warn the toll could climb as the 2-week summer construction holiday gets underway. Historically, the break sees a surge in water recreation as workers take time off, leading to more swimmers and boaters on lakes and rivers. With families heading to pools, beaches, and cottages, the risk of accidental immersion rises sharply. The Society urges anyone near water to stay vigilant, keep children within arm's reach, and use approved flotation devices. Emergency responders are already stretched thin, handling multiple incidents each day. As the holiday progresses, authorities will monitor the situation closely, ready to deploy additional rescue teams if needed. Neighborhoods along the St. Lawrence and inland lakes report crowded beaches, and local schools have reminded students to respect water safety rules during the break.
Now let's get a look at tonight's forecast with our weather team.
A stagnant ridge and a westerly jet keep tonight's sky clear, holding temperature near the daily high. On this date, Montreal once baked to a scorching 33 degrees Celsius in 2019, a record set during a lingering heat wave that pushed the entire province into triple-digit territory. The coldest reading fell to 14.4 degrees Celsius in 2016, when an Arctic surge slipped southward, blanketing the city in an unseasonal freeze. Normal July, highs hover around 26 degrees while lows sit near 19. So today's 27 high feels a touch above the norm, and the 16 low sits comfortably within typical range. The live radar shows a blank canvas across southern Quebec, with no echoes over St. Lawrence Basin and a faint return far north drifting east with westerly flow. Winds from the west at 9 kilometers per hour, gusting to 26, keep air stable while jet stream moves region at 65 kilometers per hour. With no moisture feeding the system, precipitation stays absent through night, keeping sky clear as I turn to the outlook. At 11 tonight, Montreal sits under mostly cloudy skies with a temperature of 20 degrees and humidity just under 50%. A gentle westerly breeze whispers at 9 kilometers per hour, gusting to 26, while pressure remains steady across the region. Overhead, the mid-level jet streams from the west at 65 kilometers per hour, reinforcing the mild air mass and preventing any deepening low pressure. This setup locks in today's high of 27 and a low of 16, keeping temperatures comfortably near the July norm. The UV index reads 6, reflecting moderate solar intensity despite cloud cover. No wind thresholds are exceeded and no weather alerts are active. With the atmosphere holding, I now turn to the 5-day outlook. Tuesday brings a surge of moisture as the westerly flow taps a low-pressure trough, delivering overcast skies and a 75% chance of rain. Temperatures will hover near 27, feeling cooler under the showers. Wednesday clears dramatically. The trough lifts and high pressure builds, allowing sunshine to dominate and temperatures to settle around 23. Thursday continues the dry spell, with clear skies and similar highs, making it the most stable day of the stretch. Friday sees a return of cloud cover as another weak disturbance drifts east, bringing overcast conditions but only light precipitation, while temperatures rise modestly to 25. Saturday ends the week with a bright, clear sky and a warm high of 28, promising a pleasant weekend start. And that's your weather. Remember, the wrap is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll check this morning's traffic, preview what's on today across the city, and catch the Canadian season start. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
And now here's Jason with sports.
Hockey news tonight. The Canadiens have a busy offseason to talk about. Mark your calendars, Habs fans. The NHL has confirmed the 2026-27 regular season opens September 29th with an all-Canadian spotlight. Montreal travels to Toronto to face the Maple Leafs on opening night, while Edmonton hosts Vancouver later that same evening, according to CBC Sports. A roster change worth noting, the Canadiens have parted ways with longtime forward Brendan Gallagher, shipping him to Vancouver in exchange for future considerations. Gallagher spent years in Montreal before this move, reported by CBC Sports back on June 29th. A long chapter in Montreal Canadiens history has closed. The Habs dealt veteran forward Brendan Gallagher to the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for future considerations. CBC Sports reported the transaction, which sends one of the franchise's most recognizable names out of Montreal.
On St. Laurent Boulevard, outside the historic Mason Symphonique, a small crowd gathered around a makeshift stage. Young violinist Amélie Desmarais, 24, lifted her bow as the first notes of a Debussy prelude floated over the cobblestones. Beside her, cellist Marc-André Levesque, 27, cradled his instrument like a trusted companion, his smile widening when the audience's applause swelled. Earlier that week, CBC Music released its annual 30 Under 30 roster, and to the delight of everyone present, 3 Quebec classical musicians, Amélie, Marc-André, and pianist Sophie Tremblay, 23, earned spots alongside indie rock prodigies and folk storytellers from coast to coast. The announcement sparked a ripple of pride that traveled from the cafe where baristas offered free espresso to the nearby community center, where a local choir rehearsed. Parents who first taught their children scales on kitchen tables saw their dedication reflected on a national platform. Seeing their names alongside Canada's brightest young talent affirmed that classical music thrives in our neighborhoods, not just in grand concert halls. Moments like these remind us how vibrant our city's cultural heartbeat truly is.
The scene this evening is St. Laurent Boulevard, just east of the bustling plateau, where dozens of Montrealers have gathered under the early summer sky. Families, students, and a handful of expatriates from Spain are draped in vivid red and yellow, scarves flutter, shirts pulse, and even a street vendor has swapped his poutine sign for a banner that reads Viva España. The reason is clear. 2026's FIFA World Cup final, played on the 19th of July, ended with Spain crowned champions. A local salsa band has slipped into a brief flamenco interlude, the guitar's bright chords echoing off the brick facades, while a baker hands out warm churros dusted with cinnamon, the sweet aroma mingling with the crisp night air. In the middle of the crowd, a 7-year-old girl lifts a small Spanish flag, eyes shining, and a nearby neighbor, himself a lifelong Canadiens fan, wraps an arm around her, sharing a spontaneous, quiet cheer. It's a moment that turns a city's routine intersection into a communal living room, where strangers celebrate a victory they never witnessed in person. Tonight, Montreal feels a little brighter, united by the simple joy of a shared celebration.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us on The Wrap. Today's look at the Housing Tribunal decision, letting a family move into a duplex, reminded us how our city evolves. We'll be back tomorrow with more stories that matter to you. Until then, stay safe and keep the conversation going.